Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about my book review on Beyond the Hole in the Wall by Sugata Mitra. Um, Sugata Mitra is he's a professor of educational technology at the School of Education, Communication, and Language Sciences at Newcastle University, England. Um, Sugata Mitra, uh, in a desire to be able to help children in India, in the poverty-stricken areas of India, he installed walls into a wall. Um, and in those walls, he put computers in them to the height that would match that of a school-age child. Uh, what he was trying to do when he did this is he was basically wanting to see how much children were natural learners, and if they put information in these laptops and created things that would intrigue the child's mind, uh, he wanted to see where their minds would go and how much they would expand and how much they would be able to teach themselves. So the children gravitated towards these computers, and although they were mostly in English, the children taught themselves how to read and speak and conversate and communicate and collaborate with one another by using these laptops that were placed in a hole in the wall. As you see here, here's a picture. This is just kind of a cover of the book, Beyond the Hole in the Wall. It is a TED series. It's an extension of Sugata Mitra's speech on TED Talk. One of a few that he has done. And there's Sugata Mitra himself with some of the children at a kiosk where some of the computers are as they kind of evolved into more throughout India and other countries. Um, here's a few more pictures here of what these kiosks look like. And as you see, for the most part, they're about the same height as the children, maybe a little taller on the pictures to the right. But there are children there. You see the books there, and they are working on teaching and educating themselves and working together. As you see the signs here, it talks about an initiative of Department of Education in Delhi. Uh, Out of the hole in the wall, Sugata Mitra established the self-organized learning environment, or SOUL, and in this with method, he wants teachers really to start thinking about the way that they teach modern day children, and kind of break away from the traditional curriculum that has been um, given throughout so many years, and start changing it towards working to where children are presented with one big question, and with that big question, they are then to work together to collaborate and try to come up with answers to those questions. Uh, the purpose of this big question is to make sure there's just not one right answer, and to make sure that the child's curiosity is piqued to a level that it makes them want to really research and find out the answers to this question. As you see, it has the children working together in collaboration. Um, and they formulate ideas and answers to the question. A lot of this should sound kind of familiar to those of you that are in the workplace environment, as most of the jobs that are done in workplace environment, there's a lot of collaboration. There's no one right way to do things, and um, ideas and answers to different questions are always, well, for the most part, they are always welcomed. What this also does with children is encourage them to develop analytical and critical skills. And it teaches them to not just regurgitate what is always taught to them, what's put on the board or what's put on a PowerPoint, and they just regurgitate the facts back, but they're also able to learn relevant and useful information pertaining to what they're learning, and they're able to use different methods to learning. Uh, One of the things that Sugata Mitra talks about is like math. A lot of times nowadays, math is not that. Uh, it's not as much as just writing down formulas and trying to do formulas, but you can punch them into a computer or a calculator or anything and come up with answers. Although I still think that that is important to be able to do, to be able to formulate things on paper. Um, it's also important to be able to uh, learn how to use modern technology to come up with answers as well. And that's one of the things that Sugata Mitra talks about. Uh, my book analysis of this book was, I was very intrigued by Sugata Mitra's groundbreaking ideas. I think it reveals that children do have the capacity to be natural learners, and they do have the capacity to really, when their interests are peaked, to be able to learn how to um, think for themselves and think analytically and critically and be able to come up with answers. Uh, if this kind of thinking is truly effective uh, worldwide, it could change the landscape of our school systems. It would change the landscape of what teachers are to teach. It would change our roles as teachers, and it could be um, uh, rewarding to see children really be immersed in what they are learning and truly excited about what they are learning and where they are learning. Um, Collaboration, I think, is much needed in the school systems. I personally like to see when students can work together because I do think that that's an important skill and an important task to be able to do. I think being able to work with others and to be able to develop those personal skills and to be able to collaborate and problem solve and all of those things are important to be able to do. Learning um, modern and modern technology. I thought this book was very thought-provoking as far as what type of learning as far as what this type of learning would mean for teachers. I think it makes me think about what my career like future is going to be and what's it going to look like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. It makes me think about how arithmetic may be taught. I believe that math still needs to be taught, and there is some problem solving skills and mental skills that go along with writing down formulas and figuring out formulas. Uh, and I think that they need to be able to do this so that they can be able to calculate things in their head in the absence of any kind of modern technology. Uh, it makes me wonder about what's going to happen to social skills, meaningful interactions, and humanity. That's one of my um, big fears, and I think this is something that goes along. I feel like technology is taking over some of this, a lot of meaningful interactions amongst people, amongst the human race. Social skills are declining, and it makes me wonder what is going to happen to humanity. Uh, I think that there's something to be said about the interactions that a student has between a teacher and a child and a classroom, and I think that's just part of modern evolution of people and how we act as we grow from being a child into an adult. And in the case of the fictional case, I kind of was not too sure about what it would feel like to have BSI implants. It makes me think and helps me calculate information and do all these things in my head. Um, I think that people would no longer have the actual capacity to think for themselves, and that would contradict the purpose of allowing computers to help children learn critical thinking skills, to be able to analyze things, to be able to solve things, and once again, to be able to decide for themselves how they want to interact with other people and what kind of social skills they're going to have. In conclusion, I really did enjoy reading this book. It encourages all of us to think outside of the box when it comes to teaching and giving our students the best educational experience possible. I truly believe there are several ways to teach effectively, just as there are several ways to learn. There's no one right way to do either, but the more diverse we are as teachers, the more tools that we can add to our toolbox, and the better off our students will be. I do think that we should be able to pay attention to what our students' um, interests are and what piques their interest, and try to formulate our curriculum around those students and what is going to give them the best educational experience possible. Thank you.